Hi, my name's Darren Bugg and today I'm reviewing the Premier Inn at Hound Ltd in northwest London. It's in a perfect location because it's just off the North Circular, which is the large road that runs around the top half of London, and it's really easily accessible if you're travelling from the north or from the west of London. So for example, if you're travelling from the M4 or the M1 or the A1 motorways, then it's really easy to get to this hotel straight off the North Circular. I'm going to begin by giving you a bit of a room tour, but keep watching because a bit later on I'm going to give you some really useful tips and advice about staying at this hotel and the area of this hotel, so keep watching. But first of all, quick room tour, starting off with the bed, which was incredibly comfortable. They always do seem to be very comfortable at Premier Inn, so I got a good night's sleep last night. And it was also very useful last night to have some air conditioning, because a lot of the budget hotels in London don't have air conditioning. For example, Travelodge and Ibis often don't have air conditioning, but Premier Inn nearly always do have air conditioning. And if you're travelling to London in the middle of summer, it can actually get quite hot and the rooms can get quite stuffy, especially if you've just got a small window. So having air conditioning is really useful, and it certainly was very useful last night. I'm staying here in summer and it is quite hot at the moment, so having that air conditioning there was really useful and very, very effective. And as I say, a lot of budget hotels don't have air conditioning in London, so that was quite useful. In addition to the main double bed, there's also a kind of a single bed that doubles up as a kind of a, I suppose it's supposed to be a bit like a sofa, but it was very, very uncomfortable to sit on. In fact, it's completely useless to sit on. If you're travelling as a couple and you've got a child, then it's fantastic as an extra bed for a child, so it makes it like a family room, but it's certainly no use at all as a sofa. It's no use to sit on, but fine to sleep on. If you're travelling with a young child, then that's somewhere for them to sleep. Now, there was a bit of an issue about the size of the room. I'm not complaining, the room is actually very spacious, and especially in London, for a budget hotel in London, as you can see, the room's really spacious. But the problem is the television is only a 24-inch TV, and it's a long way from the bed because the room is so big. Unfortunately, you could hardly see the television because it's a small TV in a very big room, so that was a problem, and it's a shame they didn't have a bigger television. Well, I'm just going to give you some useful advice and tips now, and then we'll get back to the room tour. The first thing is the tube station is fantastic. It is literally right next door. It's about 2 minutes away. Hanger Lane Underground Station on the Central Line, Zone 3, really close. And there's also parking actually at the hotel. It's £14 a night, which sounds a bit expensive, but actually for London that is quite a reasonable price, and it's a private company that run it, so you do have to pay separately, but it is part of the hotel. The hotel address, well, it's right next to Hanger Lane and the North Circular Road, really easy to find. I'll give you that address again a bit later on. And if you're one of these people that does what 3 words, then it's robot slot truth. They're the 3 words to find it. But you won't have any trouble finding this hotel at all. It is literally where where Hanger Lane meets up with the North Circular. There's a small desk if you're here on business and you want to get out your laptop and do a bit of typing, a bit of work, and a nice comfortable easy chair to sit on at the desk. Plenty of sockets for charging things. There aren't any USB charging points, so you do have to bring your own charger, but plenty of sockets as well, which is useful because often in these budget hotels I've found they don't give you many sockets, and it is very useful if you've got a lot of equipment to charge. I always have lots of camera equipment and phones and things, so I do find it useful having several sockets for charging. As I always say on all my films, they don't provide the wine or the water, you have to bring that yourself, stating the obvious there. They do provide coffee and tea and milk and those type of things, but anything else, any refreshments, you do have to provide yourself. There isn't a mini bar, unless you stay in a Premier Plus room at Premier Inn, you don't get a mini bar. So nowhere to chill your drinks or store any food or anything. But there is a metal kettle, which I think is fantastic, because a lot of these budget hotels, they only give you a plastic kettle, But here at Premier Inn you get a metal kettle, which is much nicer, and plenty of coffee and tea and milk, and if you go down to reception they'll give you even more. So no problem there, plenty to drink in terms of caffeine drinks, or decaffeinated if you prefer, and a nice metal kettle. A couple of drinking glasses as well, which is nice. I found at some budget hotels like a Travel Lodge, they just give you little plastic cups, which are horrible, but if you want to have a glass of wine or something, it's just a bit nicer to drink out of a glass rather than a plastic cup. So again, another slight advantage of staying in a Premier Inn. I've found Premier Inns do tend to be just a bit nicer, I think, than Travel Lodge. Although Travel Lodge now do the super rooms, which are a much higher standard, but I think Premier Inn still do just provide a few extra touches, like your glass and metal kettles and those kind of things. Plenty of room for storing your clothes next to this, but the usual problem that you always get in any budget hotel, in fact just about any hotel, and that is related to coat hangers. As you can see in the picture, I've got my hoodie and a few shirts and a few other things hung up, which, fair enough, I'm travelling on my own, I'm only staying for a couple of nights, so I haven't brought that many clothes with me. But if you're travelling as a couple, or even a family, if you've got children with you as well, they've only provided 5 coat hangers, which is terrible. So it's fine for me. I'm staying for 2 nights and I've just got, as you can see, hoodie, shirt, a few coat hangers. That's fine for me on my own. But if I was travelling with a partner or with children, they just never ever provide enough coat hangers. And I'm not criticising Premier Inn here, because it's all of them. It's Travel Lodge, it's Ibis, it's Best Western, it's Hilton, it's every hotel chain. They never ever give you enough coat hangers, and I just don't understand why. One thing that you do get in all Premier Inns is a hairdryer, which is really useful for me. For some people, some people watching this film might say, well, why is he bothered? I've got quite long hair and I do like a hairdryer, but some people aren't bothered. If you stay at a Travel Lodge, they don't give you a hairdryer. You have to go down to reception, and you can borrow one at reception. But they don't put them in the room as standard. And in Premier Inns, you do get a hairdryer as standard, and for some people that's important. For me it's important, for some people it's probably not important, but again, it's just another little nice touch that every room does have a hairdryer and a nice big mirror with a light. And I think maybe women prefer that to men, but men like having a hairdryer and a nice big mirror as well. So that's the TV and the wardrobe area and the hairdryer area. You've got a bit of storage space at the bottom. At the top you've got an extra duvet, which I certainly don't need at the moment because it's really hot in this room, but it's handy for the winter to have an extra duvet if you need one. Let's have a look at the bathroom anyway. Now, unfortunately, there was a bit of a problem, which I'll show you in a moment in the bathroom. Generally speaking, it's a nice bathroom. And one of the big advantages of the bathroom here at the Premier Inn at Hanger Lane is it has a bath, which is wonderful. Love to have a bath, and a lot of the newer Premier Inns, they don't have baths, they just have showers. But this one, as you can see, you've got a shower, fixed shower, but you've got a bath as well, and that is a bit of a luxury in London, because the hotel rooms do tend to be quite small at budget hotels in London. In fact, all hotels in London, the rooms do tend to be small, and because of that, they very often only give you a shower, they don't give you a bath. But here at the Premier Inn in Hanger Lane, North London, as you can see, you've got a bath as well. So that is lovely. It's really nice to have a bath. Now, I did say that there was a bit of a problem, and I think it's only fair on my films to show the good stuff and also the bad stuff. So I always give very honest, independent reviews. I'm not getting paid for doing these reviews, so I'm going to be completely honest. And that is, there was some mould on the bath, and it would have been so easy just to have cleaned it up with a bit of bleach. It's not that difficult. I mean, most of the bath is clean, don't get me wrong, it's very clean, but in the corner there you can just see that bit of mould, and that was so disappointing, because just a bit of bleach or some specialist cleaner and maybe 10 minutes spent cleaning it, and that would have been clean. It's only a minor point. The bath was generally clean, the hotel room's very clean, The hotel generally I was impressed with, cleanliness was great, but it's just the attention to detail, and it wouldn't have taken much just to have got that bit of mould out of the corner of the bath. But don't let that put you off, because it is a nice clean bathroom, it's a nice clean hotel room. As you can see, the tiles are immaculate, the towels are immaculate, the shower curtain, the floor, the wash basin, the toilet, everything very, very clean. But I was just a bit disappointed by that. It's just that attention to detail and it would have been so easy. I mean, give me a pot of bleach and I'll sort that out myself. You know, it'll only take 10 minutes to get that nice and clean. As I say, don't let it put you off. But it just does sort of just a slight disappointment that the cleaners hadn't kind of got rid of that, or even just put a bit of new silicone. Doesn't take long to put a new bit of silicone there. Only a small thing, but it's that attention to detail, and it's a shame because the rest of the hotel they really have got a good attention to detail with a lot of the things, like I mentioned, the metal kettle earlier on and the drinking glasses and stuff like that. And it's always a disappointment when there's just something that will be easy to solve, but they just haven't solved it. But that's the bathroom anyway. The bathroom's great apart from that minor point, and the room generally is great, as you can see. Very spacious, one of the most spacious Premier Inns I've stayed in London. And I have to say I've stayed in many budget hotels in London. If you look around my YouTube channel, you'll see loads and loads of reviews of hotels, budget hotels in all the major cities of Britain, especially London. I've stayed in Ibis, I've stayed in many Premier Inns, I've stayed in many travel lodges, and this is just about the most spacious that I've stayed in of all the budget hotels in London. So great for space. Shame about a TV being too small. Bed very comfortable, great to have air conditioning, and a fantastic location, a really fantastic location, right next door to the tube station. In fact, there's several tube stations. There's also Park Royal tube station on the Piccadilly line, but very, very close, right outside. You've also got the Hanger Lane tube station on the Central line, Zone 3. It takes about 15 minutes to get into central London. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. I make lots and lots of films about budget hotels around the UK, especially for business travellers, but for anyone really. Please, please, please subscribe if you can, like, share, all that kind of stuff. It's a really big help for me. I really appreciate it when people do subscribe and like and share. Until next time, happy travels!